Hey, we're live! Yeah! Welcome everybody, here's SpeakuP Monday, episode number 399. And today is the first Monday of the month, so that's Health Hub Bali. So sitting next to me is Tracy, Freaka, beautiful Zoe. So we're going to get on with the show. So today is all about transformational retreats or transformation retreats in Bali. And you know what makes Health Hub Bali retreats very special. There's 3 or 4 key questions that we're going to ask or even answer as well. So it's really key for those of you who are either practitioners in the space or you're people which are looking to put on health retreats or any type of retreat really here in Bali. And obviously for those who like to attend retreats, which is very important because not all retreats deliver what they promise. Not all retreats are what they seem. So you also need some kind of accreditation, some kind of guide, so you know that you're dealing with a legitimate legal retreat. So we'll get into all of that pretty soon, but I think we'll start off by our wonderful, beautiful guests introducing themselves so you get an idea on who they are and what the heck they're doing here. Over to you, Zoe. We'll start with you, darling.
Hi, my name is Zoe Palmer-Wright. I'm a clinical nutritionist and naturopath, and I work with a lot of different chronic health conditions. So my patients tend to have things like gastrointestinal issues. So I work a lot with people with IBS and inflammatory bowel diseases and all sorts of things that are associated with that. Like loads of people these days, for example, are really chronically bloated, or they've got acid reflux, or they're really constipated, or they've got loose stools and they don't know why. And they might go to their GP, their doctor, and they are offered some supposed solutions, but they're not really solutions. They're just like kind of putting a plaster on the situation and not really actually solving the underlying cause. And I also work a lot of the time with women who are dealing with hormone imbalances. So that's a big passion of mine, and I've created a program called Curated for women with hormone imbalances. So that helps women who are dealing with conditions like PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. I also work a lot with women with endometriosis, adenomyosis, and PMDD, which is a very severe form of PMS. And so my program helps women with all of those kind of things, and it's a 12-step methodology, which helps transform women from suffering with their menstrual cycle every single month to reaching a place where they're either completely symptom-free or they've got a massive reduction in their symptoms. So yeah, that's a big part of what I do. I also do a lot of retreats, and I also help with I teach workshops in Bali and beyond, and really passionate about being involved with Health Hub Bali retreats here.
And you know what? One thing which, because that was a pretty good intro, by the way. One thing you didn't mention is about there's a book that you've written. You'd like to let us know, what it is and how well it did and so on. That one, just hook it to your left. Hook it to your left. There you go.
Thank you. So my first book is called A Beautiful Balance, and it's basically a combination of, it's part nutrition philosophy and part recipe book. So it's all about basically functional medicine, because I consider what my expertise to be after 15 years in clinical practice is basically asking the right questions, so doing comprehensive clinical note-taking and really building up a comprehensive case-taking of that person's history, their diet, their medical history, their lifestyle, all of their symptoms and when they started, and building a really detailed timeline, which helps me then identify what the most likely root causes of their symptoms are. Because ultimately, that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to identify root causes so that I can then actually address those root causes. And obviously, I work in an integrated way with medical doctors, so I always use like a range of different tests, like whether it be urine tests, saliva tests, blood tests, gastrointestinal tests. And my program, Curated, the one for women, it's actually now being recommended by medical doctors in Singapore. So, yeah.
And the book's a bestseller?
It's an award winner.
Award winner bestseller? I like them both. That's good. Thank you, Zoe. Appreciate it. You can take a breath, grab some water. That was a good intro. So Frika, my darling, over to you, please. Yeah, let us know a little bit about you and what makes you tick and what drives you and how what you do connects well with what we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me again here. This is actually the third time, I think. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Frika. Actually, Frika Iskandar, and I'm Indonesian, and my focus is really on the empowering health. As I'm a mother of two, and my background is from the gut nutrition, and I see that as a whole health, and I like to see health in a whole health perspective. And having said that, that means that health itself, it's not only on the physical level, but also with the mental, emotional, with your spiritual environment. How is the energy, right? Because when we're talking about whole health, when it gets into like the physical, it's already on the surface, you can see it, or you can feel it already sick. That's actually, there are so many already underlying things. Could it be, how is your stress level? How is your emotional health? You know, because we know that when we are stressed, we might go into emotional eating. And then whatever, like you have an emotional eating, then you just grab whatever in front of you, or you make bad decisions. So when we are talking about health, I like to take my clients to see not only the symptoms, just treating the symptoms, but also what could be driving that. What are the other factors in your area of life that probably contribute to this sickness now? And I am combining more on the gut and the mind. And I love exploring, transforming also my journey through questioning and the mind. Questioning your thoughts, questioning your stress, the self-inquiry. And because the more I'm deeper on my journey on health, the more I understand that it is in the mind. It is. Yeah, and that's like and the thought is the most intimate with me, right? Yeah, your most intimate relationship is your thought. Yeah, your most intimate relationship you have is with your thought. And when I start to understand that, I was like, oh, okay, can you control your thoughts? You can't. Thought comes and goes. When I said, don't think, can you control that? No. And when you wake up in the morning, you already are thinking. No. So when I start to understand that, when I am aware and more mindful about my thoughts, when I start to question them, there are a lot of transformation happen. And that goes to the core, into the health. Yes.
Love that, Frika. Thank you. And as I always do, and Tracy always corrects me, that's okay. I'm okay with that. We interviewed a wonderful Balinese man, Professor Gelgel Wirasuta, who is the advisor to the governor of Bali for traditional Balinese medicine and traditional Balinese wellness. And the question that we posed was similar to this of, what kind of one of the major determinants or factors behind health. And, what he said or intuited by was that it's how we think as well. Thoughts have a massive impact on our health. So the work that you do with Byron Katie's work, I think, is phenomenally important, which we'll touch upon today. But now if you can pass the microphone to Tracy, and just while I'm for our guests in the audience and up here, so these microphones work beautifully when you point them at your mouth, not so well when you put them down here. That's how these microphones work. So just remember that to be directional. So Tracy, I'm sure it'll probably be the shortest intro out of the two, but please let us know, people here know who you are and how you've kind of contributed to this space tonight.
My name's Tracy G. Okay, then I'll talk up lately.
Every week we do this, every month. It's okay.
I've been here for a long time. All right then. I'm the founder of Health Hub Bali. We're connecting people to better health, and the collective of practitioners, centres, hospitals, clinics, and all the protocols here in Bali. The last 2 months we've been focusing on retreats as a journey and a way that we can bring the online programs that our practitioners are using worldwide to centres here in Bali.
A little bit about you as well, your background, so on.
Yeah, so I've been here more than a decade, and more focused on giving people options and choices in health that they can create their own health journey and get answers from trusted places.
Beautiful. And look, very quickly, Health Hub Bali, get it, so you know. 3 things which are important. Number 1 is a dissemination of information. So Tracy sits on a call, I think once a month or once in a regular period, with some experts from around the world. So the knowledge that she has in her head is next level, the latest tech from all over the world. There's also Health Hub Global that we're not going to talk about so much today, but that's also part of this whole health journey. The second part is, it's this health tourism initiative. So, how is it that we can play a part in that? How we do so is maybe we'll be introduced into the system by having a number of different tests. Tracy, Health Hub Bali works with hospitals, works with Indonesian doctors and hospitals as well to do this. And through these tests, you get a really good idea about what's happening in your body, biomarkers and so on. And from that point, health coaches then create an individualized, personalized health journey for you that will incorporate seeing specific practitioners, for example, in Bali, but it's also Health Hub Global. So these are practitioners outside of Bali as well. And the third aspect to this is an accreditation system that's getting there, not quite there yet, which is how do we then ensure that all of these wonderful practitioners that we have here are accredited, know their stuff, know exactly what they're doing, which what I mentioned earlier on, many of the retreats that are here in Bali, unfortunately, are not working with people that are accredited, that have the necessary documentation and so on to do what they do, right? So let's get started. So the first question in my hand is, what is a transformational journey? So who wants to start with answering that question? Tracy's handing the mic to someone. So I guess it's you, Frika. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it's easier to sort of illustrate this with like some tangible examples, probably. So for one example is a client I worked with recently she was actually a 14-year-old girl, and she was having excruciating menstrual cramps every month for about 8 days of every month. And she was having like extremely heavy bleeding, which meant she couldn't take part in her normal exercise and even like couldn't go to school on some days because of it. And she was having acne, which was massively affecting her self-confidence, obviously, as a teenage girl. And she was really suffering, obviously. And if you take out like 8 to 10 days of every month that you're feeling like that, that's a huge part of your life, right? A huge amount of time. So I worked with her and created a personalized plan for her where obviously using food as the foundation, because food is medicine, and giving her the right foods to actually nourish her hormone health and support her gastrointestinal function, and to provide her body with the right nutrients that it needed, that it was lacking. And obviously at the same time taking out the foods which were causing hormone havoc, basically. So I got her balancing her blood sugar, and there was lots of different moving parts of the nutritional part of it. And then also got her on the right key supplements that she needed so her body could actually process hormones better, so it could actually stimulate her body to actually rebalance its own hormone production. And then also got her to incorporate various small lifestyle shifts that would help her also manage her stress and anxiety better, because for women, stress is a huge contributing factor to hormone imbalances. It's massive, and it's often underestimated. Yeah, and we worked together for 3 months, and at the end of it, so her periods went from being about 10 days long to being 5 days, which is a normal length, and she went from having those excruciating cramps from 7 days to literally not even needing to take an ibuprofen, like for her period pains, because they were so mild. We also, by the way, because I suspected that she had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I suspected she may also have endometriosis because of her symptoms. And I referred her to a hospital to get a transvaginal ultrasound, and they diagnosed her with PCOS. And actually, it wasn't endometriosis; it was the sister condition to endometriosis, which is adenomyosis. It's kind of known as endometriosis's evil twin sister, basically. So we picked that up, and we got her a diagnosis. We knew what we were actually dealing with. But at the end of it, yeah, she was pain-free. She wasn't having the flare-ups of adenomyosis. She wasn't having the nausea that she was having, and she could live a normal life. And she knew what to do to, this is the important bit to me as well, not just getting rid of someone's symptoms, but actually giving them all the information and tools and empowering them with that, so they can then take that away with them and run off with it into the sunset kind of thing, so they don't need me anymore because I've empowered them to be able to take control of their own health, basically. Yeah.
Nice. Great illustration of a transformational journey. Wonderful. And Frika, you're next. Before we do that, let everyone know here. So there will be a time, not so long, where the third microphone will come around. So if you have a question, feel free to ask. So if you can maybe make a note of what that question might be, you'll get an opportunity to ask that question. So Frika, to you, what is a transformational journey?
Well, this is actually very big questions, because transform, it is a journey. I mean, for up till now, I am still on the transformational journey, isn't it? But everyone is different. What we have to know is the baseline first. If you want to transform, where are you? What is your baseline? And this is like if you go, you mentioned just now, okay, we will check on your blood check, or where are you? Where's your stress level? How is you have to have the baseline, right? Once you have that baseline, and then you can make a change. And that's when the start of the journey. When I see my client, when they feel something, they come usually with issues, either gut issues or gas or constipations or stress, yeah. Or when into the retreat, usually burnout and just everything, tired. So when they come to the retreat, they come to see me, and they start to take a moment and start to look within to themselves and put themselves as a priority for a while. Do that self-care. Being guided to see what the right questions being questioned, right? And that's when usually the transformation happens. Because sometimes people actually just do automatic doing things and then become automatic without really just press pause for a while and then see what is it, or even just questions a thought of something that you believe that she should change. She should eat better, for example. She should eat better. Okay, just question that thought, probably. Is it true? Is it true that she should eat better? And then knowing that, how do you react when you believe the thought that she should eat better? How do you react? I really want her to change. If she doesn't change, then I get really frustrated. And how do you feel it in your body? And just take time to understand this one thought, inquire it. And this one thought could actually make you feel a lot of tension at the back of your neck or on your gut. And if over the time, if you do this automatic, it becomes disease. It becomes something in your body, right? So a transformational journey is to take time, for me, is to take time, press pause, put yourself into that, look into yourself, self-care, and then let the journey unfold.
Wonderful. So Tracy, just before you answer that question, just a quick raise of hands. So who here has been to a retreat in Bali? Raise your hand. Retreat in Bali. Who has been? No one. What? Not these ones. Okay, thank you. There's one. Okay, who has been to a retreat somewhere else other than Bali? Raise your hand. Okay. Who wants to put on a retreat? Raise your hand. Great. Okay. It just gives these guys an idea of how to frame and answer some questions. So Tracy, same question to you. What is a transformational retreat? Journey. Sorry. What's a transformational journey?
Yeah. So people want a different outcome in life. Usually they're coming to Bali. They could be a vitality seeker or a health seeker. They've got some pain point. It could be that they're stressed, tired and stuck, or with medical tourism coming up, they may have some serious things that we can address as a collective as well with the medical tourism initiative that's happening.
You know, one thing that was really important, it was Tyler Tolman, who we were interviewing at the time. Tyler Tolman is kind of a guru of many sorts. His dad, Don Tolman, is known as like the whole food doctor in a way, using food as medicine. So one thing that he mentioned, which leads on to the next question, is, what is a medically supported or a medically informed retreat, right? So I'll give you an example. So many people here, know what a detox is and probably know that it's good for you or believe that it's good for you. So there's a lot of documentation out there. There's a lot of hype out there as well saying, do a detox, right? And so lots of people just jump into maybe a 1 day, a 2 day, a 3 day, a 5 day, a water fast, or a fruit fast and so on, without checking the baselines of their body. So the danger here is that, if your body is not stable enough to be able to do these things, you can create more damage than you can possibly realize. And this can lead to lots of complications in the future. So for him, with his retreats, as part of his Health Hub and Bali retreats, is that he does solid scientific baseline testing before he goes anywhere near you, and then prescribes what type of detox, what type of, what sort of modality, in which frequency that you should be undertaking. So that then the question to the crew is, so for you, what does that mean about, this medically induced or medically supported retreat? What comes up for you?
Can I say something first?
Of course.
Yep.
That's over to you.
So before we start the transformation, it's about someone actually wanting a change and a shift. And if it's not, it's not going to happen. And then one of the things I was going to share from our attendee, who's not here tonight, who works with men's health, and Tanya, is that I'll give the classic one is from Slobs to Savages, is Josh. And he's working with professionals who haven't addressed their health and they definitely want to change. And within 48 hours, he gets that, but he first of all gets to their mindset and he goes there first. And that's why what Frika's doing is really important. And with the women's retreat, so the ones we're highlighting at the moment is women's retreats with Zoe, and from the collective, we're all joining her. And the men's retreat is with Josh, that we're scheduling through the year, and that we shape them depending on the group that's coming through. The medically informed side of it is the fact that everything's functionally medicine-based, meaning that we find out what the block is in the person and then where we need to address it. Is it... It could be some mental imbalance there, which is showing up chemically as well. It could be gut health or even structural, just changing that, which is the somatic line of work that we're doing.
So just a quick reminder, to that microphone pointed at your mouth. Tracy still did this. But it's okay. We're okay. 21 episodes in, we're good. The question then is, how does, measuring, right, come into this whole retreat space in terms of medical retreats and so on? What do you use? Do you use anything that can assist and support someone who's about to undertake a transformational journey to ensure that they're stable enough to do so?
Usually people who come to my retreat are people who are stressed or burn out. And actually that's when the symptoms are just there. They can just bring their own they just come, I'm stressed. I have all these gut issues. They can bring the medical records. And all in my retreats, we actually have a doctor in the retreat where they can actually check. And when we want to do some activities that it's going to, at that time, actually, at one time was breath work. We had to do like the check of the tension first, the high pressure first. So these kind of things that to be sure that how old you are. For example, I have the participant who are already more than 60, and we want to introduce a breath work at that time. And then we will have to do like, okay, you have to do your blood pressure first. We have to know if you are okay to go into these activities, something like that. But in terms of like with the stress level, they just come. And then once we get into the activities of questioning the thought, you will see people will feel the change themselves.
Wonderful. So remember, if you have a question, in about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, your opportunity will come. So Zoe, over to you. You remember the question? Yeah, okay.
So for the women's health retreats, it's going to be a really important part of those that we're going to take recent test results into consideration when we bring someone on board. And there's also going to be personal work with them, with each guest, to ask the right questions to build up a comprehensive clinical picture of each individual attending. And therefore, we can be aware ahead of time of how to, although it's a group experience, how to also personalize it within that framework. And also so that we're aware of any contraindications, right? So you mentioned this, but that's obviously really important, because, for example, not that I will be doing a fasting retreat on the women's health retreat, but things like fasting that you mentioned. Obviously, if someone was adrenally fatigued or was in a state of burnout, then doing some kind of extreme fast wouldn't be a good move at all. And obviously, with other things, like it's really important to know what kind of medications, if any, people are on, because then there might be certain contraindications with activities, with even supplements that we might want to incorporate into the menu, because the menus at these retreats are going to be functional menus, right? So medicinal menus that are going to be designed to support the exact tangible benefits and outcomes and results that we want to achieve from these results. Like things like, strengthening bone health, balancing hormones, supporting cognition, supporting mood. So all of those things are going to be taken into account in terms of the workshops that are offered, the experiences, the treatments, the whole way everything's going to flow and be curated, basically.
With the medical aspect of it also, we do have to take the health history. That's one before they come to the retreat. And for those of you who are making a retreat just now, planning to make a retreat, to look, when you look for a retreat center, if something happened to the participant, what would you do? Think about this. So whenever I look into a retreat place, I need to know what's the first, like for the first aid if something happened.
That safety net.
Safety net, yes, correct. Either like is a place that you can take them nearby, if there is a doctor that you can be on call, or any other practitioner that can be on call. All those things needs to be considered.
Great point. And look, remember, I'm not a practitioner. I just interview a lot of people, but that's one thing that keeps coming up, actually. Like if a retreat that you go to hasn't got these things in place, maybe reconsider. Yeah? Tracy, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. What is...
Other way. You had it right the first time. Yes.
Did I? Okay.
No. Like this.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right. The... having trauma-informed practitioners as well, because a major part of that, of stuck energy and why people aren't healing, is their what we call the nervous system. So being able, I can say, having practitioners who are really experienced in this field is important.
Got it. So questions. So Ayu, sister Ayu, the beautiful Ayu from Tropical Nomad. So if you had the third microphone, oh, look at that. I love you, Hugo. She's already got her hand up like, I'm ready. I'm ready for my question. So if we pass the microphone to Hugo over there, third mic, we'll give Zoe's mic, I think. Yeah, thank you. I actually, you know what? I kept looking over here, forgetting that we had the third mic up here. I'm looking over here saying, it's just right there. It's not, right? Good. So remember, if you have any questions, now is the time to have a think. Now, if you have a question of a more personal, private nature, maybe you don't want to be on camera, that's okay, because after we finish the show, the wonderful guests will be here as well, so feel free to have a chat to them then, if that's what you would prefer. So, Hugo, yeah, over to you, darling.
Sorry, I have some fuel. Now I'm ready. So my question, I don't know if I can address it to you, but maybe you can also know about it, probably maybe to Patricia, about the legal regulations in Indonesia in general, because I think we all see a lot of advertising of retreats and, Ayurvedic centers is popping up here and there, and people advertising the talks on every corner, and most of them are, I'm not sure, like my perspective here as a client, I'm not sure that these people even have any medical basic education or whatever to prescribe you or anything like that. And since it's becoming very hype and very profitable, so like, is there any legal requirements in Indonesia? Because the medical part itself is very regulated, right? But health retreat and like traditional practitioners, they are kind of in this gray zone, I feel like that. So what exists now, and is there any plan to regulate this area quite a lot? Because it's created quite of, I feel there is a lot of buzz about it, but with no regulation in place and people who's doing it out of, legal requirements and out of their actually expertise, sooner or later will start to create a not very good reputation. And I think it's already many people are quite feel suspicious about those things, because
so Hugo, so let me give you a hand here. So I get what you're saying, and help me if I'm wrong, is that, so what your concern is that, what are the regulations, if any,
yes,
right, around practitioners coming to Bali and just opening up whatever it might be, and if so, like if there's anything that goes wrong, what's the legal, where's the safety net?
Yeah. And
right?
For example, like if I'm as a client, right, coming to this retreat, or want to book this retreat, what can I ask? Like, can you show me some paper, certificate, or whatever else, like, like on what to look for?
Good question. I think we'll make a list of those questions for you. Yeah. And what we're setting up now is like a platform, an online platform, where people can become members and subscribers from the public. You can ask these questions, and then we address it that way. But at the moment, Health Hub Bali itself is going around, and we're collecting the ones that we know and are aligned. Yeah.
All right. So just to chime in there, so Health Hub Bali works with different legal firms, okay? Which probably, judging from your question, that's probably the one guest we probably missed tonight. It's like, next time I'm going to remember bringing a legal expert. So, so there's a few legal experts that Health Hub Bali uses and basically reverts to. Now, one of them, won't mention names for now, we've gone through and we discussed this, right? And there's different, I'm not a legal expert, so please keep that in mind. So one is, there's two things. So one is obviously in Sanur at the moment. What you have is a special development zone, 3 international hospitals coming in, led by Maya Clinic from the US. The light just responded, that's good. Right, so that's one. A second one is that I think is that the Doctors Union here in Indonesia played an incredibly powerful and important role in selecting whether foreign doctors, for example, can practice. That regulation has recently been changed, as I understand it. It's gone back to more of a government control of the veto of saying yes or no. when it comes to practitioners, there was one that we were talking to. Now, there's a distinction between whether it's medical or whether it's wellness.
And health.
Right? Wellness and health. And those two are governed differently. If they're medical, it's a lot harder, a lot harsher, a lot more difficult to obtain the licenses and the necessary things you need to actually practice here. The other one, when it comes to wellness, as I understand it, remember, not a legal practitioner, as I understand it, that is a little bit more open at the moment. And there are maybe centers out there which are kind of using maybe the not so tight regulations to open those. So what I would say to that as well is that Health Hub Bali is based in Nan, opposite Monsieur Spoon, and have regular updates on this. So check the Health Hub Bali. I think the Instagram would probably be the easy one, and the Facebook. And also go in, because they have open days, market days, where you can go in and speak to professionals who are practitioners, as well as legal experts on the spot to actually get really good answers to the questions that you have right now, which I think tonight we're not going to be able to give those to you, unfortunately, because that person isn't here. But I would love you to follow up with Tracy and anyone else here who's interested in the legal side of this, because it is a very important one, and I'm sure next time we do this, we will have someone here in the legal department. But please follow up, because it is a very important question. Not sure if you want to add anything to that, Tracy.
That's okay. It is a very, very important question. And I just don't want to, because I know in terms of legality, it's very gray. But sometimes, like when you do like a retreat, the retreat itself is way out of from the medical sector, right? Like it can be spiritual retreat and stuff, right? And so it's has got nothing, well, the legality, then you will be the questions of if the person is legal who is earning the money here. So I don't want to go there, right? But what is important to see is do the retreat organizer look into the safety net just now, for example, right? So that's also quite important, because if something happened, what do you do? Insurance is another question, right?
Insurance.
So, insurance. So this is very, I think we should make another talk just for this.
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
That's a great idea, I think, to make maybe the next one we do, Tracy, will be all about the legal ramifications and different laws that govern during retreats. I think that's a natural follow-on.
Yeah, but from the government of Indonesia, I know that there is none that's really saying, okay, retreat will have to have this, except for the organizer, if you are either have working permit or the kitas or like that. That's it.
Great question, Hugo. Now, is there anyone else over that side? Yeah? Just over here, the microphone is where? Is there. Okay, good. Just wait for a moment, and then Guzman will switch it on. Okay, that's good.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So basically, I want to add a little bit. As my background, I'm a GP, general practitioner. I'm Indonesian, and I work here in Bali. And from there, I'm also work for retreats. Basically, I'm facilitating for retreats. So maybe I can give a bit of insight of this, because what Frika said is so true. For us, the medical practitioner, we are not taking any responsibility, things that related to others' health, things that is outside of Indonesian medicals. For example, you do some of the detox things that's not inside of our what is it?
The
net,
medical sphere, yeah.
Yeah, it's not inside of it, and we're not taking responsibility. That's first. Second, all the things that added to it inside of the retreat, there is no things that will protect you for that, except if your question is, if you want to choose retreat, how you choose that, right? So you choose from, for example, if you're going to like
nutritionists, for example, naturopathy or anything it is, that they have the certification outside, because some of it, we're in Indonesia, we don't have that. Yeah. For example, like trauma therapists, there is no certification trauma therapist here in Indonesia, but there is a doctor who's psychiatrist. But a psychiatrist will not jump into the retreat. You know what I mean? So someone that have that certification outside. But still, if you want to shoot about anything, we cannot help that. Indonesian government will not take any responsibility on that, and that's true. Just another example, in US, if you want to touch your clients, in, for example, yoga teacher, you want to touch your student, you must have a massage certification. In Indonesia, whoever it is want to touch you, that taxi driver want to touch you, there is no legals. You want to shoot that taxi driver, who want to shoot into? We have a different law. So yeah, understanding about this, safety is less. So safety net from that company is the most important things. So that's what I want to add it into. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, it's like when the question is asked, the community responds. Love it. So next to you, Catherine has a question. Thanks again, darling. Appreciate you.
Hi, ladies. I just am curious, what's the magic number for retreats? Because if, for example, it is non-medicinal, so it doesn't require a doctor as such, it's well-being, or is there a magic number as to getting the real benefit as the attendee, and also how many facilitators should you have perhaps over a group to make sure everyone is looked after, attended to? From your point of view, what do you think works best? I'm just curious. Thank you. If that was does that question make sense?
Listen, you know when you ask the question, there's a silence. You always look at yourself as like, did they understand me? Am I clear? Am I speaking English? Am I speaking any language? It made perfect sense. Zoe's got it. I can tell.
Yeah.
She's got it.
So I would say this very much depends what you're doing on the retreat, right? So obviously, yeah, there's so many different types of retreat, right, in terms of the results you're trying to get. But I would say somewhere between 10 and 25 is probably kind of a good group number. Obviously, if you have 25, there's going to need to be more support put in place. But I've run retreats that big before, and it's all run smoothly. And but it has to obviously be the location. Obviously, determines a lot of this. And but yeah, I would say that's the rough ballpark, 10 to 25 in my experience. Yeah.
You want to add to that? Yeah.
Yeah, in my experience, I like it the number between 14 till 18. That's my magic number, like a more smaller, where it's just like maybe from a mother point of view, and we have two facilitators too. And like if we look for our school, we will ask like, okay, how many teachers in the class, right? There will be like like 1 to 7 or 1 till 10, right? So the ratio. So for me, what works is that 1 till 7 to 1 to 8, like that. Yeah.
Right. Tracy, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, there's the other option too of doing solo retreats. So we can put programs together. Sometimes people just want to follow something themselves, so that's available as well.
Great. So great question. So we're going to keep moving on. Anyone else have a question over here? Please, Sister Ayu. Thank you very much, darling. Okay. Now, just remember, Health Hub Bali is located Pantai Paderedanan. I always pronounce it differently every time. It looked at me like, Rob, that wasn't right. I know. I'm struggling here. Help me. So opposite Monsieur Spoon on Pantai Paderedanan. Sort of okay. Sort of correct. Next question over here. So we'll wait for a second or so while Guzman switches the mic on, and away we go.
Testing. Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for what you've shared so far. It's been really interesting. I will be hosting my second wellness retreat, so not necessarily medical. So my question is, what types of prerequisites do you guys have when it comes to looking for that retreat center that works for you?
Prerequisite. So what things do you look for in terms of a retreat center? What factors?
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it's more like the nature, one, the access, access to any first aid or like for any practitioners, for example, or hospital, for example, yeah. So how is the access? The distance from the airport to the center, that's also, or if there's any health or like a clinic nearby. For me, that's actually one of the most important because that's the safety. What else? In terms of like in nature, then mosquitoes could be an issue. So, yeah.
Beautiful place in the middle of nowhere. Good luck. I never said that.
Yeah.
I did say that.
So that bugs, mosquitoes, all that, that's prerequisite for me.
All right, Zoe, anything like that? You're good? Yes, okay. If you can't answer it, Tracy, you're good? Yeah, okay. Great question. Any other questions? Yeah, follow-up's good, darling. Yep.
Testing again, yes. Not necessarily a follow-up to the previous question, but another random question is, what have you guys found this a sweet spot for the duration of the retreat?
Sweet spot for the duration of the retreat. How many days? If a day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, or longer?
Okay, now that goes back to the transformations because the retreat that I do is a 7 nights, 8 days. Because I would like to get into that transformations point. Because when people come, they need to settle, and when they settle, like you still haven't let go of whatever you brought in, so you kind of have to settle first, and that's usually like 2 days, and then third day, then you start to really look inside more within, and I would want the people to go back to feel that they have something they gain something which they can bring back. And the last day or the last 2 days, that's when we want to get into the integrations, what they can bring back into their day-to-day. So, yeah, in my point of view, if you want it to be transformative, longer, because you need that time.
Zoe, you want to add to that?
I would second that. I'd say like a week is kind of perfect, not just for the transformation itself, and also for people being able to actually take that time to come and dedicate it exclusively to their wellness and healing. So yeah, I would say a week, because it does allow for that kind of like really fully immersing yourself in the experience, basically.
Tracy, anything you'd like to add to that? Complete that?
Yeah, so...
Good.
So to make things sustainable, is that right?
Oh.
To make things sustainable, what we aim to do is we have pre-retreat and afterwards and follow-ups. So with our proximity to Australia, there are some types of retreats that may be 3 or 4 times a year, and it's like a journey that follows on. And like I said, it all depends. They're all different types. There's other, when we talk about transformation as well, we have clinics. It depends what people want. They might want body transformation. So there are aesthetic clinics, and we can connect that in with there's some of the tools that we can use. So the ladies want to have, these type of changes as well. So that's where we start utilising the health tourism model. Connect.
So
they get some outcomes and use the energy of Bali for that. That they can click into that. Yeah.
So we've got 2 more questions left, and just a reminder, whoever's got the microphone in their hand, point it at your mouth. It's good, right? So, question: tools of transformation. What are the tools of transformation? So who would like to start that one? Zoe's looking keen. Okay.
Obviously, food is key. I mean, you can't have a transformative retreat without amazing food that actually supports the body's healing, right? And obviously, being a nutritionist, that's like a massive part of what I do. And I've seen how much food used as medicine can just literally transform people's health. So that's obviously key. But then obviously building in the right kind of experiences and practices that are actually going to support the healing of the body. Because obviously you need to, like the nervous system thing is key, right? Actually enabling people to actually calm down their nervous system, nourish their HPA axis, which is the stress response axis, and actually lower their cortisol levels, that really important stress hormone. So that's really key. And then also being able to also give them the education, the right balance of informative educational experiences that they can actually take that knowledge with them when they leave to apply it to their life when they get back, right? So it's not just, they go away for a week, have a lovely time, feel relaxed. No, it's like they go away, having an incredible transformative time, but come away with loads of tools for actually living to make this like a longer healing process after they leave. And I think that's really, really important because we are about substance, right? Not just providing a nice holiday. So that's really key. And then, and also, taking everyone's needs into account in a group setting, and how, depending on the age group of the people that are coming, it's going to influence what kind of activities is going to be suitable, obviously, and what's going to best support the outcomes that you're wanting to achieve.
Wonderful. Thank you. So tools of transformation.
Yeah, I second that. So I don't have to redo whatever she said. And actually a great facilitator, an experienced great facilitator. That one is, that's key. Either it's like to deal with difficult participants, for example. I mean, you don't know, you come, people come from all over the world, they come to your retreat, and sometimes you haven't met the person. They only know you from Instagram or from online, right? And then they come, and you don't know that person as well, but when they got here, wow, maybe their health deteriorates, or they are very stressed and very moody. And they're out of their environment, and they're here like they make everyone's mood also bad, for example, yeah? So you do need to have a really good facilitator skill on understanding this, on how to not only balance, not only, this one is bad, and so I just focus on this, and then the others are left out, yeah. And I do use a lot of, because I'm on the mind and also physical, mind and body, I do a lot of these self-inquiry tools on questioning the thoughts, because I start here on the mind, and then we go to the physical, and then to emotion. So the emotional, also talking about space, tools is also, the space is a tool, right? If you are wanting it to be emotionally, you come to the retreat, maybe you have an emotional outburst. How is the space? Is it enabling? Because the retreat centers is also a tool, right? Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah. So Tracy, is there anything you'd like to add? Tools of transformation.
Yeah, so first of all, you need to, like we said before, we establish baselines. We find out what are the issues, then we need to clear the blocks. And so the tools for that, it could be somatics. We haven't got Tanya here tonight, who's not well, but she would go through that, whether it's the breath work, you're working with fascia, because that's often where the emotions are held, the muscle and that, the body work. These are all ways to unwind. With the Balinese, we've got a tree here, so there's all sorts of trigger point and energy work as well to clear things and bring it into balance as well. Then we go, after that, then we need to work out individually what's happening. We can use the elements, the mud, the sand, the sun. We use all the natural elements, the water as well for healing.
Yeah, that's why Bali is really good. Yeah. That's why Bali is really a nice place for retreat, because we have all those elements, right? For organic food is accessible, all that elements from the nature, the sand, the water, the sea.
So following on from that, what's happening in the other countries, many from Indonesia are going, say, to Singapore, to Kuala Lumpur for their medical treatments. But we say where's the healing there? We're saying to come back to Bali then to reset and restore, repopulate the gut in a tranquil environment. And that's why the choices of spaces and places are important.
Tree, your name has been mentioned, my brother. Good to see you. Is there anything you want to add to that? If not, it's okay. But if you do, we're going to give you the microphone now. Yeah, so we'll hand Tree a microphone. All right, just wait for a moment while the microphone is switched on. Ba-ding! Right, and then you're good to go, brother.
Thank you, Robert. Well, as far as I know, because years ago I was joining with the government in here, Denpasar.
Bit closer.
They're talking about the regularity. Regulation, which is some of the treatment is you're not allowed to do it in here. For example, like acupuncture, for example. That's the rule that I remember, but many other different rules as well. But I'm sorry, I'm not remember in detail for that. So sometimes I'm a bit confusing as well the situation here. For example, if you go to Ubud, based on my experience as well, some of my friends sometimes they don't know which modality you allowed to do it here, which one is not allowed to do here. Which is there are many different regulation in there. But the point that I remember from the government, it is the something that those for Indonesian cannot do in here, then they let you do it. I mean, the outsider, they let you do it here, the treatment. But as far as the skill, they could do it here. The government tried to protect that. So that's the point that I understand of it, in general. So that's the thing that I remember. Basically, that the way it is in here.
Thanks, Tree.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate you. So look, moving to the last question now. And so Tracy, this one's to you, and obviously illustrious members of a panel. So what makes Health Hub Bali retreats different?
So when we talk whole health, we're talking about transformation. We're talking about the science behind everything that we're doing. We're talking about preventative model. We're talking about, when we say wake up and live, that people become aware of what's actually happening in their body. They become very conscious. It's not focused just say on a yoga retreat or like I said, get away for a fun holiday. People are looking for outcomes and they're looking for some direction. So they've got experts here we can draw on. We have Indonesians, we have Balinese, we have expats, and then we've got the telemedicine that's global.
Wonderful. And look, so last question to the ladies here, and I'll give you maybe a few minutes to think about it, but it's obviously tonight's topic is all about transformational retreats in Bali. Right, so we've had a pretty good discussion on what are the baselines, what you should check for. So people that are coming to Bali to have a retreat maybe have a few different questions in their mind to make sure that they're going to go to a retreat that is supportive if something should go wrong. Right, and we've also established the fact that next time we do this, we're going to have a legal expert in here. But thank you so much. I love what you two said. Thank you. Just to make sure we cover that and really, really well in the best way that we can. And then obviously we've gone into the different modalities that each of our guests have, and what is important within their wheelhouse of retreats, what's key for them to look out for and to provide, which I think is brilliant. And then obviously now we had Tracy explain what makes Health Hub Bali retreats different. So the last question that I love to pose to you is if there's anything that you haven't said, we'll keep it short and sweet if we can, around this topic, right, of transformation retreats in Bali. Is there any other points of guidance, words of wisdom that you can impart to those either, like our lady over here who's putting a retreat on, or those people maybe watching who want to attend a retreat? Right? Any last word of wisdom on that maybe you haven't said already? Right? So that's a question that I'll leave with you. So what I'll quickly do now is to say that just thank you for coming. Obviously, we're going to have a photo after this. Everyone's present and have a chance to kind of network and catch up with the people here, which would be great. Also, I'd like to point out that next week's show, have a friend, Robert Johnson, from the US. That will be an interesting one as well. He is the former VP of a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Multi-billion-dollar company. He'll be on the chair next week. He's flying in. It'll be really cool. So if you get a chance, you should come to that one. A beautiful black man who's done so much, but very straight up, very empathetic to a point, but just a wonderful guy, right? So if you're interested in that, definitely come next week. Definitely want to thank Guzman, Ayu, Tropical Nomad, our technical partner and very good friend. Thank you as well to every person who's decided to come tonight. It's no coincidence that you're here, right? So make sure you connect with each other as well, because that's part of what this is. It's a network around the topic, right? Which is also important, as well as our illustrious guests. And then the last thing before I put the question back over is, okay, remember Health Hub Bali is in Pantai Peredanan, opposite Monsieur Spoon, right? So go in, make sure you follow Health Hub Bali, Instagram, Facebook, and so on to get updated on what's coming next. So the question again was on our topic tonight, any words of wisdom or word of wisdom that you can impart either to a person who is looking to come to join a retreat in Bali, or a person who's looking to hold or to facilitate or put on a retreat in Bali. Thank you.
Well, this is actually to both of those groups of people that I would say that when you're thinking about a retreat, whether attending or putting one on, you want to think, what is actually going to be offered at that retreat, right? Beyond what someone would be able to organize on their own. Like, for example, if they wanted to come to Bali and they wanted to do breathwork and yoga, they could just do that themselves, right? And stay in a nice place. What are you actually offering that sets you apart, that's tangible, that is like results orientated or experience orientated? And also, who is going to be at that retreat? And that goes back to what you were saying, like, because the facilitator is key. What's their expertise? What's their experience? What are their qualifications? Because that is super, super important in terms of, like, actually getting a quality experience, right? So, I'd say that they're the two most important things.
Beautiful. Thank you. Frika?
Those. And then also know your baseline. So if you would like to have your transform, know first where's your baseline. So then you can work from there. Right.
And then, Tracy, over to you.
Yeah, and don't try and do it alone. We've got questionnaires online on our website. And whether you're hosting a retreat, make sure you're legal as well. Do you have everything to comply? And then for somebody who wants to attend, we've got, like, you could say it's a service, a concierge service, and we can check and tailor, or not check, but suggest different retreats that are available. Yeah.
Beautiful. Zoe Palmer Wright, we'll get back to afterwards. We're not going to wrap up now. Zoe Palmer Wright, Frika Salrain, Tracy G, Health Hub Bali. Round of applause. Thank you very much.